Mayor Melton Potter, the mayor, and the city have been great partners with us here at the Chamber of Commerce. I look forward this year to even strengthen that partnership up even more with the mayor, the city, and the county. At this time, I'd like to ask Mayor Potter to come up. He's been serving with us for 7 years as mayor of the city of Scottsboro. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Mayor Potter.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. Thank everyone for coming out this morning. It always amazes me what kind of crowd we can draw with a free breakfast. I wouldn't get up this early in the morning to hear this speech, so I appreciate you all doing that. I would thank Roy Lott and Philip Cheney of the Water, Sewer, and Gas and Electric Power Board for sponsoring this. Congratulations to Philip on his new job. Wherever he is, there he is. And wishing you the best of luck. So if there's anything you want, you better get it now before he learns how to say no. But he's done a great job, and I do appreciate his and Roy's friendship and for the working relationship. They make industrial recruitment and retail recruitment very easy. I also want to thank the employees of the Water, Sewer, and Gas for setting up the room and putting in a lot of work so that we can all be here this morning. I want to recognize a few people, and I hope I don't miss anyone, and I probably will, but first of all, I want to start by just welcoming, again, you all here this morning. I'd like to recognize my family, which maybe half of you, I don't know. But, my wife, Kathy, is here. I appreciate her and her support. My mother, Frances. My brother, Bradley, but I think he said he was going to leave after he eat. But, so he did say that's good. My aunt and uncle Charles and Laurette Yarborough, I appreciate them being here. Last year I was doing this and I left one of my cousins out, and that was Eunice Sharp. So Eunice, stand up where everybody can see. She beelined up here last year and said you forgot me, so I was going to make sure I didn't do that. But I do appreciate her. She's meant a lot to me through the years. She's actually my second cousin, but we'll claim her as just cousin. Also, we have a lot of elected officials here this morning, and Senator Steve Livingston, there he is back there. Representative Tommy Haynes, Tony Wallens for the City Council. Oh, here he is. Brent Miller, he was here earlier, and Keith Smith. Thank y'all for coming. Did any of the others come in? Did I miss anybody else? Okay. Also, Chairman Matthew Hodges of the Jackson County Commission, and Stacy Ledwell. I don't know if any of the others are here. Mayor Steve Helms and his wife from Woodville. Appreciate y'all coming up. Dr. Sandra Spivey is here, the school superintendent. And I found out coming in the last few days that these kids think I have a lot more power than I do. All of these up front says all they want to do is for me to let them out of school the rest of the day. As far as I'm concerned, you don't have to go back. And last Friday, I got a text from Brad Dudley, the principal of the high school. His daughter, Darby, another relative, sent me a video saying, "Come on, Mayor, give us an early dismissal today." I'm getting worked at every angle, but I don't have that kind of authority. But I do appreciate everyone for coming. Did I miss anybody, Rick? Kathy Murray with Congressman Brooks' office. I'm over here. Oh, there she is. She was over there. But Kathy, I'm sorry, I almost forgot you. Appreciate you coming. But we're going to talk about a lot of things this morning. Things that's been accomplished and things that we're going to do. And none of that would have been possible without our employees, our city employees. We have over 200 city employees led by our department heads who do a great job day in and day out. And they're very dedicated to their job, as evidenced by many of them spent their Christmas Eve and Christmas Day working during when we had all the flooding here in Scottsboro. And so I appreciate their work. The service road along Highway 72 was completed this past year. If you've been through there, you may have seen that half of it on the east side, on the Walmart side of 72, hasn't been open, but that's going to be open this week. So we look forward to that. And we've received a lot of interest from developers in that area there since we built that service road. I know of at least 4 different ones who have shown interest in it. And hopefully we can be able to work with those developers on that property to get it, some businesses in there. Ron, the business development person here at the Chamber of Commerce, and Rick worked very hard to get business to locate here, and I help them as much as I can. And so hopefully we can see something happen there in the near future. Last summer we completed the batting cages, which has been very popular at the old tennis courts. There's 7 batting cages down there and 1 pitching cage. It's open 24/7. Best thing about it, there's no charge for it for our kids or baseball team and even adults to go down there. It's unsupervised, and we want to keep it that way. The lights are on timers, and so far it's been a very popular thing that we've done. Right now, it's currently shut down due to some damage that we had during the flood over Christmas, but that's supposed to be repaired this week, and hopefully it'll be open again either this week or next week. We completed the dog park next to the Bynum softball fields. I think that's been a very popular thing, and hopefully that'll be used more often. Very minimal cost for that. Also at the soccer fields, we built a 0.6 of a mile walking trail. You may have seen down there. It's not completely finished. There's a rubberized finish that's going to go on top of that, and due to the weather and the winter coming in, that will not be completed until spring. The track can still be used, but the rubberized finish is weather dependent on when we can do that and what we can do to it. So that will be finished early spring. That was paid for by a grant from the Alabama Department of Environmental Management because we use recycled tires in that final finish. It was a $150,000 grant, and the total cost of that project is about $200,000. We paved Cedar Hill Drive, which is a very busy street that was in need of repair. The downtown Scottsboro group that's been working is becoming more and more viable, and you'll see them more visible in this next year. They had their largest and most successful event was the Christmas on the Square. I think Kathy told me they had about 3,000 people there this past year, so that was a very popular event. They got some movie nights planned and a market on the square for the coming year. Thank you, Lord. Been fighting the cold, and I took some cold medicine this morning, so I'm anxious to see what I'm going to say myself. Okay. A lot of you may have noticed that the redevelopment of the old Kmart building in the last year, that's turned out to be a very, very nice development, not only from an aesthetic standpoint, but from a money-making standpoint. In 18 months, when Dunham's opened 18 months ago, and then the Kmart closed about a year ago, and then within 2 months, we had a developer who relocated to Babcock's Home Furniture, a Pet Sense, Ollie's discount store, and a Dollar Tree, and down there. And so, in 18 months, those businesses have done over $6.2 million worth of business in 18 months. Just those 5 businesses, and that's added 192,000 tax dollars to the city of Scottsboro. So that's been a very nice development. It's a very beautiful development, but the beautiful thing is it's making money for everyone. So I think that's something that's turned out real nice, and it looks better than 2 unsightly buildings just falling in down there. Google, that's the big announcement that was in the last summer that was coming to Jackson County, and the impact on us will be tremendous. I don't know that we all realize exactly what's going to happen, but we're excited about to see what will happen. I think a lot of you heard about who all played a part in it, but I had a tremendous part in Google coming to Scottsboro or to Jackson County. I got to pick up the people at the airport and take them to the airport for the announcement. So, the announcement that would not have been made. So, there were 3 people from the Alabama Department of Commerce that I picked up at the airport and took to Widows Creek that day, and it was on that trip that I found out it was Google. I had a huge part in that. So, no, there are people here today who played a tremendous part of that. Dust Rogers and his staff, the Economic Development Board, along with Chairman Hodges and the Jackson County Commission. They all worked very hard to make Google a reality here in Jackson County. There were others involved, Mayor Hughes and the City Council of Bridgeport, and Jim Hughes with the Bridgeport Utilities. We had a guy from TVA come and speak to us one day, and it was a pretty good story. I thought that you had all these high-powered lawyers from TVA and Google doing the negotiations in the county, but it all came down to whether it was coming or not, whether the Bridgeport City Council voted to to close, was it close the road or? Just project agreement, yeah. So I mean, everything was done and it came down to the Bridgeport City Council. That was the final shoe to drop. So I thought that was a pretty neat story, but we're excited about it. And of course, TVA was the big player in the Google. They went above and beyond the call of duty to make sure that the Google located in this county, and they were not going to be denied, and we appreciate them for that. On the subject of industry and recruitment, Dustin and his staff did a great job this past year. You may have read his editorial in the paper, but the Scottsboro Industrial Development Board also had a big year. We have a 7-member panel that is appointed that oversees our industrial development. Roy is one of those members. I think Ken Looney, he was here earlier, he was a member, but we had 4 different industries in Scottsboro last year that announced a total of 77 new jobs and $67.7 million of dollars of capital investment through expansion this past year. And that really surprised me when I heard those numbers from Dust. Johns Manville led the way. They had 2 expansions. The first one that created 12 new jobs and was a $2.5 million expansion. But the big one that was just announced was 40 new jobs with a $45 million investment on a 60,000 square foot addition. The big thing about that to me was that we were in direct competition with Dallas, Texas for this project. And for us to go against them and win that project here, I think was a big deal, and it shows the commitment of the Alabama Department of Commerce and everyone with the EDA and the IDB working together to make this happen. Other expansions were PHP had 5 jobs and $14 million. HTPG had 5 jobs, $3.2 million. And Safety Weave had 15 jobs and $3 million. But when you look at the entire county saw 314 new jobs and an investment of over $688 million in capital investment in the county, and I think that's great. It's not a bad year at all, but the key is working to expand our existing businesses, our existing industry. That shows their commitment to our area and for their willingness to be successful, and so we appreciate that expansion. Downtown remodeling update. The plans are still being developed for this project. They're about 70% complete. We've had a couple of meetings with our steering committee. We've received over $1 million in grant money for this project, and we've applied for another $278,000 in grant. The last improvements for the squares was done in the 1970s when I was a little bit older than you all, not much, but so it's time. It consists of replacing the sidewalks from the storefront to the curbs, sidewalks around the courthouse, new landscaping, benches, garbage, just a complete makeover. And once the plans are 90% complete, it will be sent to the Alabama Department of Transportation. You may think, why is that? It was because that's where some of the money came from for approval. And when they do that, then it could take up to 6 months for that approval to be complete, to finish. At that time, we will have another steering committee meeting at the 90% completion and then a public meeting to finalize the plans. Our best guess on the estimate is a date in the fall, a bid date in the fall, with construction beginning about this time next year. That's just our best guess. And there's also up here, this is just a layout that kind of shows some of the landscaping and brick pavers. One of the unique things that you'll see is that on every side of the square, you'll be able to go on the inside of the square and come out on the same side of the square. You won't have to go all the way around and come out in certain areas. So I encourage you to come by and look at that if you have a chance. Let's talk about roads, and let's talk about what's Cove and Porter Road first. I don't know if anybody, yeah, you're sure she listened to that once, so said, yeah, let's talk. That project started back in the fall. From the very beginning, we've experienced a lot of problems with that. We had a lot of base problems that we didn't foresee. We could have just went, it was more than just a repaving project. It's widening the shoulders, it's doing drainage. If we just went in there and repaved it, we'd have the same problems in 2 years that we do now. So we experienced some base problems from the hospital to the railroad track down there, and there was about 30 inches, I guess, that was dug out, had to be replaced and put back. Which hit about Thanksgiving, which hit about a range period of time. And so the neighbors down there, to say the least, were upset, and I don't blame them. I understood their concerns and their problems. The problem was compounded in the fact that the contractor had a subcontractor who went and closed Porter Road, who cut it in two to replace some culverts. The timing on that was horrible. It was not good at all, but we lived and we learned. Had they waited until they completed the paving there from the hospital to the railroad track, we wouldn't have near the problem that we experienced. So we've taken those lessons and we've learned those to get more involved, and we've not had any problems with this contractor in the past, and we didn't expect any this time, but sometimes things happen, and all that at the end of the day falls back to me. That's my responsibility, and I'll take that responsibility, but we will learn from it, and when we do the Ridgedale and the Clemens Road projects, we won't let those type of things happen again, and I apologize for that. We did have several discussions with our general contractor and our engineering firms, telling them about our displeasure and how we didn't like what was going on, but at the end of the day, they have a contract and they have certain things that they have to do. And if it's not completed on time, there's liquidated damages that will be enforced, and we'll enforce that to the fullest. But it is moving forward. The weather has impacted that project just even within the last 2 weeks with the cold weather, the rains, the snow. So I can't sit here and tell you that it's going to be finished by a certain day, other than that they are moving forward. I think they finished a big culvert repair and working on to another one. So hopefully that Porter Road will be open to where you can at least get back to 72 within the next 2 or 3 weeks, I believe was the last I was told. So again, we just ask you to bear with us, and we'll do the best we can. The next project is the Ridgedale Road. I look back on my notes from the last 2 State of the City addresses, and in January of 2014, I stood here and told you that the Ridgedale Road project would be bid in September of 2014 and completed in March of 2015. It wasn't true. And last year, I sat here and told you that it would be bid in October 2015 and it would be completed by March of this year. Not true. So I'm here to give you some new dates. And that is, I don't know. We can only go by our best guess and our best estimates on what AlDOT tells us and the engineering firms, and it's just the nature of the beast. It really is. And if you've ever fooled with the highway department, you know that's kind of the way things are. But they are covered up with projects down there, and we're trying to be patient. But the good news is that the Ridgedale Road project, the plans are finished on that. And what is holding this up right now is the Norfolk Southern Railroad. There's a railroad crossing there, and we're waiting for permission to be able to move forward with that. So once we get that permission, then we can put the bid out for project. There's a chance that it could be March of this year, or it could be August of this year. We just don't have a clue. So we'll make that announcement when we get there. But that's all we're waiting on, is the Norfolk Southern people to give us the go-ahead. Clemens Road, same thing. I gave you dates that was not true and we didn't meet. But as we stand here today, I talked to Josh yesterday about this, and we're hoping that we got a bid date of June for Clemens Road. And I know a lot of you go out that way. Again, we're working just as hard as we can. We have the money available. We're just waiting on the approval from the state. So just to update on that. So future projects, Michael Way, we're going to be able to upgrade and fix that road. That was another road. If we just go in there and pave it, we're just paving troubles. We've already done core samplings. It'd be from the traffic light out on 35 behind Harvard's all the way almost to the high school, or to the high school. I don't remember, but it's up that way. And so we have the money available to do that. And again, we've already started some work. We hope to be able to do that project this summer. Again, we are working towards that. We're going to build a new entrance and exit down to soccer fields. A lot of you who have kids who go down there and play soccer, you know how congested it is between games. So we found a place where we can add another entrance and exit to maybe relieve some of that congestion during the ball games. If that doesn't work, we have an area there that we can build a parking lot and probably put in another 75 cars on that same side of the street. So we realize that that's a problem, and we're working towards taking care of that. Another project we're going to have is extending the walking trail at Goose Pond. It currently ends right behind the Civic Center. We'll extend it 5,000 feet almost out to Highway 79. We got a grant for that from on the Recreational Trails Program. We have $100,000. It's an 80-20 grant. The total estimated cost is about $180,000. TVA is, we're working with them to get the permits right now. They are going to help us assist us some financially, and we hopefully the design work in that can be done in the spring and the bid to follow later. Speaking of Goose Pond, I don't know if you've been down there, but they finished their latest marina expansion. It's a beautiful site. Sitting over there is probably the best looking site that they have. They have 44 slips that are full, and if you haven't been down there to see it, it's really worth the drive down there. They're also doing dredging work into the marina there from the river, and that should be completed within a month. And they're also, the lodge down there is being remodeled, and it should be completed also within a month. And once that lodge is remodeled, they will have remodeled every cabin and a lodge within the last 3 years, so all that will be updated. But appreciate the work they're doing down there. Our abatement board and Daniel Pierce, who's our code enforcement officer, in 2014 worked to get rid of 13 buildings around the city that was old and dilapidated and an eyesore. So I appreciate their hard work on that. But also last year we did another 14 buildings that were in old and poor condition. And so we're going to continue to work on that to remove the buildings that are unsightly and past their prime. At last, I think it was December, the City Council approved a $12,500 budget amendment for us to host a high school fishing tournament here in Scottsboro. And JP, where are you at? He was going to say, "That don't take long." Okay, they don't.
Oh no! But every year we do bring in several terms, and thanks to the City of Scottsboro and Mayor Melton Potter. We're bringing the Junior World Bass Fishing Tournament in, and they'll have champions from 40 different states, including Alabama, and one champion from a province in Canada. Will be coming into Scottsboro, and we're bringing their state conservation officers, and that will be they'll fill all of our hotels and eating on a lot of our restaurants. So we'll look forward to that coming there. But we appreciate the City of Scottsboro for supporting us there, because it does help us bring those kind of things.
That'll be in August, is that right?
August 6th through the 8th. And they will be using local anglers from the Bass Federation. So if you're a member of the Bass Federation, they may be calling on you to help with this tournament.
Thank you, JP. Another project that's getting off the ground that I'm involved in, and along with Matthew Hodges and Rick Roden, is the Veterans Memorial Park. Members of the VFW and the American Legion are working to build a memorial down on the grounds adjacent to their building down there. And it'd be a place to remember those who fought and died for the freedoms that we experienced. There'll be monuments to each branch of service, each war, each conflict, and information along with the history that's associated with each of those conflicts. The cost is estimated just roughly around $500,000 right now, and so they're currently in a fundraising effort. George Jones, who is here today, and Ron Osternahl, they'll have information on that if you want to get more information about how you can contribute. But they've gone to all the municipalities around the county, presenting presentations to them, and they've gotten many individuals and communities have made donations. They've been publicizing ways to donate through the sponsorship of kiosks and benches and plaques and even a bronze statue. And the different levels of sponsorship range from $500 to $5,000 and above. One way that everybody can participate is buying a brick paver, and they have those for sale for $100 or $200. There's also a rendering of that, about what it would look like, if you want to come up and look at it and see any of us, and we can give you the information. Finally, I'd like to talk about 4 capital projects that I presented to the City Council back in December. These projects will add to the quality of life for our city, and also aiding our public safety. But the first one is the renovation of the Veterans Park baseball fields. They were built in the mid-70s. There's 4 fields down there. We will essentially just demolish that whole project and start over. The fields will remain. We will tear down the fencing and concession stands. We will put up new lighting, not poles, but new lighting on the poles. It would have a new concession stand, handicap restrooms, dugouts, fencing, concrete, a 3-foot block wall from dugout to dugout, new dugout, shades over the spectators area. The estimated cost for this project is $1 million. The second project is to renovate the swimming pool at the Rec Common. A lot of you use that, both young and old. It was built in 1989. We would replace all the translucent panels that on the side and the top with more economical and more advanced panels. The big thing to me is the heating in there. That place is supposed to be heated and cooled, and never has. It's not worked in many, many years, and so we would replace that, and exhaust fans, which would help with the mugginess that when you walk in there. We will refinish the pool on the sides and the bottom, and the pool deck. We'll upgrade the filter, remodel the locker rooms. That estimated cost is $1 million also. The third project is an addition for the Scottsboro Jackson County Heritage Center. This project was first talked about in 2013 as a partnership between the city, the county, and the legislative delegation, but we were not able to fund that project, and it would be an addition of a 3,000 square foot with a new kitchen, exhibit, reception area, and handicap accessible restrooms. Allow for more events to be held at the center, gives them more room. They're kind of cramped up there when they do have events. I think it's something that's much needed. The estimated cost of that is $500,000. If it runs over that, the Heritage Center Board has agreed to do fundraising efforts to try to reach the rest of anything they may fall short. Final project is the remodeling of Fire Station 3, which was built in 1982. We've demolished the existing living quarters with our city equipment and manpower, and any of the demolition that we would do in-house. The existing engine room would remain. We built the new living quarters for 3,000 square feet. The existing one we have now is around 2,000. The estimated cost of that is $500,000. I fully support all these projects, and I hope the council would see the need for these projects and vote to pass it in the near future. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to money, right? And that's a $3 million project. Our finances are healthy. We have an A+ rating from Standards & Poor's, which evaluates our finances based on our revenue, our debt, and our expenditures. Our current debt on bond issues that we have in the past that the city is directly responsible for is $22.9 million. That's money that we pay from our budget. Our yearly payment is $1.5 million, or 7% of the budget that we have that goes towards debt retirement. If we add this $3 million to our capital projects, we can still afford it. And there's a long convoluted formula that our payment's not going to go up. We have three debt service that will come off in the next 7 years, and our payment goes down every year, beginning with this year. We just won't see that payment go down as much if we have this additional money that we borrow. Our 2015 and 16 city budget was $20.4 million, and that's $300,000 less than last year's budget. But it's also the same number of our budget that we had in 2012 and 2013, and I don't think many cities can say that their budget has gone down, and we still provide the services that we do at a very high level. We budget very conservatively based on the previous year's revenue. We don't anticipate revenue increases. We do it from the previous year. But after 6 months, if we see that our sales tax has increased, we reinvest that in our apartments for capital projects. Last year, the city collected over $9.2 million in sales taxes, and that's a lot of money. Our sales tax increased by 4.7%, or $435,000 over the previous year. Our lodging tax increased 14%, or $26,000 over the previous year. Business license increased $28,000, or 3% over the previous year. It all sounds good, but then we saw a TVA in lieu of tax decrease about almost 11%. It decreased by $133,000. So you can see that we saw increases in 3 or 4 of the areas, but that decrease was very huge. But we did show a net increase overall of $357,000 after you take away what we lost in the lieu of tax. I've asked our financial director that once we bottom out in the TVA in lieu of tax, which may be a couple of years. Matthew, is it 9 or 10, or is he still here? What's the decrease this year?
Total decrease?
Yeah, well, percentage-wise.
14%.
14% this year. So, once we bottom out, and it may be a year or two before that happens, then when that TVA and lieu tax money starts to go back up, I've asked our financial director to take anything, and once we bottom out, that's what we deal with. That any increases we set aside for capital projects so we could have some money to do some of these projects without having to borrow. I don't believe that we should just hoard up money, but we should have emergency reserves. We're here to provide services, is what we're here, and do the very best that we can. As the funds become available, we want to provide more and more services. And I feel like that our city has more to offer than similar sized city, and we work every day to help our city grow. Everybody wants a different restaurant, a better places to shop. And I agree with that. We work hard to do that. But these type of businesses are not just going to come because we have a pretty place. We have good school systems, which we do. We have the waters and the mountains. They're not coming for that. They're coming for one reason and one reason only, and that's to make money. So they have to make money. So it's our job to show them what we can do to help them be successful, to show them the travel that we have on our highways through here and the population. But as I talked, we would also like those industries that employ 400 and 500 people to come in, but don't underestimate the growing of our existing businesses, because that is very huge, and we were successful in that. So when you have growth in your industry, you have more families, and more families that come spend more money, and when they spend more money, it's more tax money. So all this works together. There's not just any one thing. It's everything working together, and growing the population brings those choices that we all desire. So when you look back at the last year, I think we've been very successful in doing those things. We've seen new jobs and new businesses. Our tax base is growing. Our city services have improved. But I'm not satisfied. I'm happy with our successes, but I'm not content. We want to continue to work very hard to stand here next year and tell you that more projects and more industry and more retail that have come in. In my opinion, I feel like the state of our city is very good, and all of our employees are working to make it great. And I want to thank you all for coming this morning, and I hope that God may bless you and God bless the city of Scottsboro. And if you have any questions, feel free to answer them right now.
Mayor, I've got one question about the downtown area. The square area downtown, there's many vacant business fronts down there. Is there any plans in the works to revitalize the downtown Scottsboro area from a business standpoint?
I believe that the Downtown Redevelopment Authority is looking at ways to do that, and certainly they can come to us at any time for assistance. I think one thing they're doing is storefronts. They're giving grants to Brent. You're here, I think, and I think he's involved in that. Grants to redevelop the storefronts. A lot of that is privately owned, and we would certainly help them, but a lot of it depends on the business owner also. Any other questions?
I have one, Mayor. I know the fire department worked really hard the last couple of years to improve our ISO rating. The ISO ratings are used by insurance companies to help establish premiums for homeowners insurance, those kind of things. Would you expect that we might see a reduction in insurance costs because of this improved rating?
Yes, we did drop one class to 3, Gene, is that right? And we went from a 4 to a 3 about a year ago, I think. And you see your largest increases on the upper end, when you go from 8 to 5 or 6 to 4 or something like that. The folks, the insurance companies look at it different now than they used to. It used to be based on just the ISO, but they look at zip code based. They look at a lot of different things. But most insurance companies, I still think, rely on the ISO, and you should see some decrease. But I think the ones who see the biggest decreases are the industries. This is my understanding when you get down into level in the 3, 4, 3, 2 level. Anything else? Y'all are easy. Well, I do appreciate you all coming, and this Scottsboro is a great town. It's a small town, and you can hear any and everything in a small town. And there's been lots of things that have been going on and have been said in the last few months. And I'm a public figure, and I get that. And I'm available for second guessing on any decision that I made, and I welcome that because it makes me think my position and my issue. But then there's things that are out there that they're just not so. And again, as a public official, apparently I'm free game for that to happen. But I have a public life, but I also have a personal life. And when those comments cross over into doing harm to my family, I don't appreciate that, and I'm not going to stand for it. So what I ask of you is that, this is an election year, and I'm running again. I've made no secret about it. And since I've said that, there's all kinds of things that's been put out there and been said. And when the election comes around and people begin to qualify, you'll see where all this is coming from. Only thing I ask of you is if you hear something about me, all you got to do is ask me. I've never run from anything. I go on the radio, my cell number's published, my office number, I answer my phone. I just want to serve. And it comes with a price sometimes, a heavy price. But I ask for it, and I'm going to ask for it again. But if you hear something, come and ask me. I'll tell you. I'll hang around after the meeting. Feel free to ask. call me, come and see me. I'll tell you anything you want to know, okay? I just felt like I needed to say that because that seems to be like the elephant in the room. And I just don't want to shirk that responsibility or run from it and just say, I'm available. All you got to do is ask. Thank y'all for coming.